This is a very enthusiastic ceremony today, one of the most. Good afternoon. I am Becky Eust, Interim Dean of the College of Design, and I want to welcome you to the college's 2017 commencement ceremony. Please join me in singing 2 verses of Hail, Minnesota, led by former University of Minnesota student Kate Lamb. The words are printed on the inside cover of your program. Thank you, Kate, for making us all sound so good singing Hail, Minnesota. Please be seated. I am pleased to welcome you to our ceremony today and to welcome to the stage University Regent Richard Beeson, Executive Vice President and Provost Karen Hansen, Provost and Dean of Undergraduate Education Bob McMaster. I also want to welcome my faculty colleagues, over 45 of whom have joined us for this, our 11th graduation ceremony as the College of Design. Let me welcome as well our college's deans, Marilyn DeLong, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Research and Engagement, and Kate Maple, Assistant Dean for Student Services, as well as our department heads, Mark Swackhammer, School of Architecture, and Joe Favor, Department of Landscape Architecture. This is a busy time of the year, wrapping up the semester, and I appreciate your taking the time to be here. Would also like to thank the 25 staff and volunteers who have helped make this commencement ceremony possible. As I mentioned, our graduates today are the 11th graduating class of the College of Design. I am proud to have had the opportunity to serve as interim dean over the last 2 years, and prouder still that we will be welcoming a new dean to our college this fall. While she was unable to join us today, in August, Carol Stroh will begin her tenure leading the College of Design. She comes to us most recently from the Rhode Island School of Design, where she served as vice provost. Everyone here on the stage and many graduates in the audience were able to get to know Carol a bit during the thoughtful search process this past fall that Provost Hanson conducted. I would like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Provost Hanson for hard work and dedication on behalf of our college by bringing Carol on board. Thank you, Karen. I am excited at what we have been able to build together over the last 11 years, and I'm equally thrilled about the possibilities that lie ahead for our college, for our current students, and most of all for you, our graduating students. During times of transition, it is important to pause and take pride in our individual and collective accomplishments and celebrate achievements. For example, last week we held a college honors and awards ceremony, and over 100 students, staff, and faculty were honored by their peers for accomplishments during the academic year. Transitions are also opportunities to look toward the future, chart new paths and new beginnings, such as the opportunity in front of our graduates and their families here today. The University of Minnesota has provided you a broad education and the knowledge needed to thrive in your chosen fields. Unique to our college, you have also acquired the essential skills needed to succeed: the ability to work in teams, to deliver complex projects on time, to tell compelling stories to diverse audiences, and to learn from failure, all while being endlessly creative and curious as you find solutions to the problems facing society. Because of your education and experiences in the College of Design and at the Twin Cities campus of the University of Minnesota, you are not constrained by ambiguity. Rather, I know you are invigorated by it and the challenges that lie ahead, especially as you continue to learn, remain open to new ideas and new ways of thinking, and hold on to your creative ability to imagine what could be. You each have the potential to create your own new beginning. Those efforts start in earnest today. Speaking of not being constrained by ambiguity and transitions, please allow me to transition here and introduce our commencement speaker. David Rubin is the founding principal of Land Collective and recipient of the 2011-2012 Rome Prize in Landscape Architecture from the American Academy in Rome. His visionary contribution to the field in empathy-driven design is a hallmark of the studio, gaining increasing notoriety for fusing issues of social justice in cities with excellence in the design of public spaces. His work has received awards and honors from the American Society of Landscape Architects and the American Institute of Architects. Please join me in welcoming David.
Thank you, and congratulations to you, the graduates of the University of Minnesota College of Design class of 2017. It's an honor to acknowledge and celebrate you on this important day, alongside your friends and families, and the administration and faculty of the College of Design. I would like to thank the college and faculty, especially Holly Locker, Dean Becky Eust, and Joe Favor, head of the Department of Landscape Architecture, for the generous invitation to speak today. This is my first time as a commencement speaker, and so it's a particular honor for me to try to impart wisdom to the expanse of the constituency here today: graduates, friends, families, mentors, faculty, and administration, and I thank you. And I want to take a moment before I keep going on to say that if this is your safe zone, right, and this is your fear zone, and learning happens up here, I'm way over there, just so you know, all right? I want to wrap my presentation to you around two universal truths that, though we may not consider them often, are worthy of acknowledgement, because they can provide a framework for how to approach what we aspire to in life and what we must overcome. The first I'd like to recognize is gravity. It's a universal truth, and the force of nature that binds us to this earth. It links us to the common ground on which we all stand, and unifies us to a common plane. Gravity drives the mission of my own studio, Land Collective. We believe that the design of the connective tissue of our world, as gravity binds us to it, is the greatest opportunity to encourage communication amongst very different sorts of people. We believe that a designed environment can be a means by which dialogue can be fostered, and for our studio, a space that is extraordinarily beautiful or highly sustainable, but devoid of people, is recognized as a lack of success. For us, a successful space is one that's well attended. By the means of our own humanist design process and approach, we have the capacity to create inclusive places in which very different sorts of people can find the pleasure of engagement, contemplation, and community. And if two very different sorts of people, say a chemistry professor and a young protester, find comfort in a place we've designed where they want to sit and stay and end up adjacent to one another, and as a result of that adjacency, engage in a conversation, and that conversation comes up with an idea, and that idea 10 years down the road saves the world, we will have been successful. Not because we're smart enough to come up with an idea that saves the world, but because we are smart enough to design places in which very different sorts of people can feel comfortable engaging in conversation with one another. A second universal truth is this: mean people suck. In meanness, in cruelty, in prejudice, there exists an absence of empathy, often resulting from a lack of communication. In this era of nationalism and xenophobia, communication is an arena in which designers like yourselves have the capacity to foster change. The design of the human environment, whether through building architecture, landscape and planning, graphic, apparel, housing studies and interior design, or retail and product design, can positively affect the capacity for dialogue. And that is an extraordinary strength that you have at your disposal as young designers. It's perhaps the greatest irony, and I'm speaking to the parents in the audience, that such a powerful tool, the ability to think creatively, is perhaps the least rewarded financially. My own mother, whom I love dearly, saw me winning my university's art prize and having great success in my explorations of art and the history of art. And having witnessed this, she invited me to become an attorney. Because from her perspective, attorneys hold the greatest power in the world. This, to someone who didn't read well, who to this day doesn't read with ease, was not a great proposal. But I took the LSATs and applied to law school, and I got in. But at the same time, I took my portfolio and applied to the Graduate School of Design and got in. And relying on the pride of my mother, my loving mother, to serve my purpose, and she was very prideful, I turned to her and said, I got into law school, as you requested, but I also got into Harvard for design. And her response to me was, I want the H on my car. And so I went to the School for Design, a wonderful compromise that kept me in the world of creativity, where my strengths lie. And in speaking to you, the graduating students, I want to say that discipline you've chosen to engage in and the tools you've gained are incredibly powerful and have the capacity to change the human condition. Communication fosters understanding, and design is a powerful tool with which to do so. These two truths have helped guide my work and have helped lead me here, honored to stand before you as your commencement speaker, to have been recipient of the Rome Prize, the highest honor in my field of landscape architecture, to be engaged in a second design career leading my own studio. But any success I've had in every way is because, as a young person, I met an art and design teacher. I'm speaking now to you, the faculty and administration, and sharing an extraordinary epiphany I had as a result of meeting a creative instructor, a high school art teacher named Richard Heyman, who was willing to engage a student who was failing out of many courses, a student whose learning challenges were not recognized, a student who came upon the first art class of his life and as a result was able to see the world and his place in it completely differently. Through the arts, Richard helped me recognize something in myself I hadn't before. I learned that I could absorb information and express myself visually. I discovered that there was a thing called art history, and that through it, I could learn about the past, the expanse of the world, and very different sorts of people through cultural expressions of art, design, and architecture. And as such, I increased my capacity for empathy and gained a deeper understanding of the differences and profound samenesses of the people and cultures of this world. Where I had been a near failure in high school, once I was engaged in the arts, I began to excel and learn to relate to the subjects like math, science, history in college, utilizing visual information. I wrote government papers from the position of art history and got A's for my efforts. Art and a patient art and design teacher unlocked my potential and helped me find a method of learning that has served me every day since. Finding myself at the end of my college career, now with Latin words after my name and indeed a portfolio that allowed me to get into graduate school for design, I owed much of my success to art and design and to my first art teacher. And today, as a professional honored to stand before you, I still do. I'm certain many of you graduating today have been inspired and supported by your own instructors, and I encourage you to carry that inspiration forward with you into your careers and offer it as a gift to others. Give it away. That's the great value of it. Art and the design process allowed me to find myself, and to the beauty of learning and communicating visually and empathetically, of designing not for oneself, but using design to solve other people's problems. It's become the focus of my studio and my aspiration for working across the country and across the world. I want to leave you with the titles of 3 books that I have returned to again and again that collectively reinforce these themes, books that have found a permanent position by my bedside for consultation when I'm up late in the middle of the night working through problems or ideas. The first is the Hicks Brothers translation of Marcus Aurelius' Meditation. Aurelius was the last great Roman emperor defending his own world from what seemed to him as barbarism. But what's so important about his meditations is that they are emotionally rich, humanist passages, writings that recognize that he was a human being, not a god, among the people he led. His writings reveal that human beings have not changed for 2,500 years. Technology has changed. Ways of doing business have changed. But human beings are fundamentally the same. Our humanity is constant. Understanding this in the construct of design is an incredibly powerful tool. I also encourage you to read Pelasma's The Eyes of the Skin, which explores his concerns over form-based design and the dismissal or rebuke of humanist processes. I too fear that designers often forget that our work is not about the object, but about the design of the space in which human beings engage. And finally, I encourage you to read Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time. I believe that Hawking is a wannabe landscape architect. In his aspiration to find the union between the general theory of relativity and quantum physics. Relativity concerns the speed of light, aspects of gravity, and movement through the fabric of space, and quantum physics is about patterning that happens based on randomness. For Hawking, figuring out the union between these two things is figuring out what he calls the theory of everything. And in describing this, he really describes the nature of the human condition. The notion is that with human beings, there is a relative prediction, without certainty, that something will take place. Consider, for instance, how many times you've walked to the College of Design on the same path with only the occasional variance. The theory of everything is really the nature of the human condition, a balance between relativity, the elsewhere of the present, and quantum physics and the prediction of randomness. And I'd like to offer these 3 copies to Anna Kobus, Camille Hayter, and Brittany Autumn. I'd like you to take these books with you when you leave today. They're our student speakers. In the end, it is in the capacity to think creatively through the processes of design where the strength and audacity of the human condition is most powerful to effect positive change. You are set to become leaders in your chosen fields, and I encourage you respond to this era of xenophobia and nationalism with a level of creativity that will foster inclusiveness and reason. I recognize you and the disciplines you have engaged in as being the most powerful force, and I congratulate you. Thank you, and good luck to all that you pursue.
Thank you so much, David. So every year, as alluded to by David and his door prize for speaking today, we ask some graduating students to address their classmates, knowing that education occurs not just in the alchemy of the classroom between professors and students, but also in the myriad informal settings of college life among peers. This year, these 3 student speakers were chosen by fellow graduating students to represent the class of 2017. I'm going to say their names first, and then they know the order in which they're coming up. And so students, when you do come up, or when you're done with your speech, please take a book off the pile with you when you leave. Our first speaker is Anna Kobus. She's a graduate student in the Master of Architecture program. The next speaker is Camille Hayter, an undergraduate in the graphic design program. And the final speaker is Brittany Autumn, also an undergraduate student in the graphic design program. Please join me, and I believe Anna is first, right?
Today, as we gather to celebrate this milestone in our lives, we realize that from our seats in this auditorium to where we are going will not be a straight line. At some point in the College of Design, we have all seen the diagram of how designers think and the creative process on a project. For those of you that are not familiar with the creative process, it is not a single line from beginning to end, but rather it is a swirling, spiraling path that moves forward, but also backward at times, and forms knots, twists, and tangents along the way. This notion of path is something that I have kept with me throughout my time at the university, and I plan to take it with me into my future. At the College of Design, we are taught the practice of design thinking. That type of thinking isn't typical for most professions. It is a bit of a messy process, both physically and mentally. We've all had an accident or two where we glue our fingers together or rush cutting something and hurt ourselves. Other times, our minds stress over the multiple ways to finish our project, and it keeps us up at night. Most students can pinpoint a time, or probably multiple times, that they were stuck on a project or design, and they struggled to find which direction to go next. Working through that process in our classes has taught us how to problem solve in creative and innovative ways. There may be resistance at times, or setbacks and disappointments, but the end result is always worth it. Over the course of my development as a designer, I have had my moments where I look over at the student next to me and think, wow, that is an amazing project. What on earth am I doing with my design? I wish mine looked more like that. Although I would be lying if I said I no longer have moments of self-doubt, I have also learned through my progression of studios and lectures that there is no right way of doing something, especially when it comes to design. I'm always amazed at the variety of projects that are pinned up at the end of the semester when we all started with the same prompt. As we move forward, we must remember not to compare our creative journey to others. It is important to know everyone is at different points along their own swirling design process, and we cannot judge ourselves or others for where they are along that road. This process of nonlinear and diverse thinking can be taken into our future professions and help us thrive in our ever-changing world. Design has taught us to innovate and how to problem solve. We can take these lessons with us far beyond these walls into our future professions and far beyond the walls of the offices we will work in. We can use design thinking to better our own lives and, more importantly, the lives of others. It's sure to be challenging with twists and turns and moments of thinking you've gone in the completely wrong direction. But in the end, it's bound to be beautiful. I hope all that are graduating here today remember this unique lesson from the College of Design, and I encourage everyone to go into their field knowing they have the skills to forge their own creative path. I want to leave you today with a Dakota proverb I uncovered this past semester while doing research for my thesis project. We will be known forever by the tracks we leave. It is our turn now to make our own creative mark on this world. So let's get started. Thank you.
While I adjust my papers, I just want to take a moment and thank my family and friends who joined me today. My journey to College of Design was an unusual one. When I first started at the University of Minnesota, I attempted to pursue biology, then chemistry, then medical technology, and then pre-med. And this part it will look like I plagiarized from David's speech, but it is not. This was written weeks ago. But it was through my high school counselor, too, as well, Nancy Gannett, who's in the audience, with whom I confided my inner struggle of what I wanted to study, that I came to find out about graphic design. At the time, I was volunteering for a local mosque not far away from here, producing posters, brochures, and logos for the center. I was the only person interested and available to do that. I emphasized this experience to Ms. Nancy when she asked me what I did outside of college. She then simply asked me a question: have you thought of graphic design? And my reply, what is that? The rest is history. Soon after, I continued my journey to the College of Design. Not having a foundational background in the arts made my first years at the college hard to adjust. But with a leap of faith and the help of our educators at the college, I stand before you today. This is how, unofficially, Professor Daniel Jasper became my mentor and advisor over the years. His willingness to share his time and knowledge and advice with me, and my motivation to learn, has given us both a connection of dignity, respect, and admiration that we hope to continue in the future. This last year was the pinnacle period for the graduating class in the program. Up until this school year, we were given instructions on what to create: draw this face, paint that square, redesign a water bottle, write a paper on conspicuous consumption, etc., etc. This year, however, as growing designers had full control of the content, ideation, and creation throughout the whole process. Perhaps a preview of what is to come after we graduate today. Of this experience, it made me think of a Kandinsky quote in which he says that every work of art is the child of its age, and in many cases, the mother of our emotions. It follows that each period of culture produces an art of its own, which can never be repeated. And out of this gestation period during the program, I had classmates who designed an art therapy kit to help college students cope with depression, socio-political motivations behind comic books and how they reflect our recent protests in the US, children's book in getting kids away from screens and getting them to play more in the outdoors, and even redesigning America as brand, just like our politicians get the brand, their campaign every 4 years. I'm fortunate to involve a personal project of mine for over 2 years as my thesis project. I was born and raised in Somalia till the start of a civil war. A war becomes an obstacle to any growth and progress, whether on individual or collective vision. However, our resilience as human beings is unwavering, and because of that, Somalia is assuming leadership in its political affairs and efficacy. Somalia has not had the postal service in its own postage stamp since the war, close to 3 decades now. To help build a collective identity and celebrate Somalia's progress, I decided to work on the establishment of a new form and direction of Somali stamps in the 21st century as part of my thesis. A stamp, irrespective of its time and space, communicates with the viewer and user of a specific history, geography, people, and culture. Though small, stamps are primary ingredients in building a state and unifying a group of people. It is a sign of stability, peace, and pride. Through these stamps I've created, I hope that we can imagine and work towards a Somalia with postal service and stamps once again. Finally, through my last years at the college, my friend Mahmoud Mumin and I created a collective called Somali House of Art, which is a Minnesota-based Somali art collective that provides studio space, artistic community, and mentorships for younger Somali artists. And through Somal, I hope to see many great Somali American designers that graduate from the College of Design without the path I took to get here. Thank you.
Today, I would like to share with you my relationship with the blank page. And like all relationships, there are some good times, some bad times, and of course, a love poem, but that comes later. Before I started college, I used to collect fun and beautiful journals, notebooks, and sketchbooks, but I would never write or draw anything in them. I was too afraid of making a mistake. And so they sat on shelves and on desks, always teasing me with the opportunities that I wasn't taking. Then I started my classes at the College of Design and was forced to crack open those sketchbooks and pick up a pencil. Professors asked for hundreds of sketches, ideas, and word lists for a single project. Speed gesture drawings quickly filled entire drawing pads. It was the same on the computer too. Digital mock-ups filled artboard after artboard. Soon, I overcame my fear and became comfortable with putting pencil to page or pixel to artboard and filling the blank page. But now I was facing another challenge. The ideas that were swirling in my head were not matching what I was seeing on my page. The pages were betraying me. Okay, I realize that is not the blank page's fault, but it felt like that for quite a while. With the guidance from my wise professors and mentors, and soaking in the suggestions and critiques from my talented classmates, I slowly but surely began to see my ideas come to life on the page. It was at this point when I finally became comfortable that design school taught me the most important lesson of all. Don't stop there. Keep throwing things at that page. Never settle for the first or easiest solution. Push beyond what you had initially imagined, because that, I learned, is where the magic happens. So, what did I do when I faced the blank Word document to start writing this speech? I stared down that ominous blinking cursor and started writing a love poem to design school. See, I told you we'd get here. Why? Besides the fact that I now love the blank page and the opportunities it holds, I also love all of you, and I want to thank you for your inspiration. Before I read the poem, I'd like to end by saying, today, graduation is like a blank page, or a blank artboard, an empty dress form, an empty room, a block of foam, an empty lot. And I'm so excited to see what you make out of it, because if it's anything like the crazy awesome work I've seen these past years, it's going to knock this ridiculous graduation cap off my head. And if you're staring at your blank page, maybe today, maybe in a year, maybe in 5 years, and wondering where to begin, remember, this is what we have been training for. We are not afraid of the blank page. We throw things at it. And it may start out messy, but that is okay. Because in the end, we make it beautiful and functional and edgy and new and exciting. And now, with a little help from the movie, 10 Things I Hate About You. If you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. I think it's on Netflix. You're welcome. My love poem. 10 Things I Hate About Design School. I hate the way our professors expect the very best. I hate building portfolios to design what comes next. I hate that we've become boundary pushers. I hate that we've grown our creative minds. I hate it so much that it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme. I hate being surrounded by my talented classmates. I hate that we're entrepreneurs, that we collaborate. I hate all the global outreach and community work. I hate inventing the future and our mentors' wise words. I hate all the design thinking, the problems that we solve, but mostly I hate the way I don't hate design school, not even a little bit, not even close, not even at all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna, Camille, and Brittany. So College of Design alumni are key partners for the college. They are actively involved in their professions and serve to advise, advocate, and connect students and faculty to learning opportunities in public and private settings. They also provide critical expertise and perspective that keeps our discovery, teaching, and engagement scholarship relevant. In the College of Design, our alumni and student leaders work together to advance these important connections, and I'm pleased to introduce alumnus Samantha Isomura, President of our College of Design Student and Alumni Board. Samantha?
Congratulations, graduates. I'm Sammy Somura, the president of the College of Design Alumni Board, and I'm here to let you know that when you earn your degree, you also earn a place in our community of over 15,000 design alumni worldwide. Alumni. That sounds pretty good, doesn't it? There are so many ways to tap into the alumni community and stay connected after graduation, whether you want to share and celebrate career news, make connections with other design professionals, continue your education, find inspiration, or get involved as a volunteer. We are here to help. We hope you'll tap into this amazing network of design alumni as you prepare for your career, move to another city, or look to stay connected to the U, the college, and each other in the years to come. As you cross the stage, you'll receive a complimentary one-year membership with the Alumni Association and a small gift from the Design Alumni Society. Your membership card will be sent to you in the mail later this summer, along with benefit information, subscriptions to Minnesota Alumni and Emerging magazines, and other resources to get you started on your lifelong connection to the College of Design and University of Minnesota. Congratulations to each one of you, and welcome to our newest design alumni.
Thank you, Samantha. I'm Kate Maple, Assistant Dean for Student Services. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the notations you see in your program. Each year, a number of our undergraduates are distinguished by their significant academic achievement and program participation. In your program, you will see that these students have been identified with a notation behind their names. Students who have completed the honors program are recognized with Latin honors designators, cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. These students are wearing their University of Minnesota honors medallions this afternoon. Students who have maintained a superior grade point average are recognized with distinction, wearing gold cords, or high distinction, wearing maroon and gold cords. These students have demonstrated outstanding scholarship as undergraduates at the university. Students wearing purple commencement cords have successfully completed the President's Emerging Scholars Program, and students graduating with the degree in 3 notation, and there are a number of graphic design students I talked to the other night who did that, and retail. They participated in a special university pilot program in graphic design and retail merchandising, completing their baccalaureate programs in 3 years or 8 consecutive semesters. Now, please note, we have professional photographers taking photos of your students, and they'll be contacted in the future if they want those photos. So, we're trying something a little different this year. I'm up here kind of guiding but the announcement of the student names comes from your student who did all the hard work. So, this is the part you've been waiting for. The students are crossing the stage in alphabetical order within their major. Hold your applause and I'll cue you for the end of each program. However, isolated whoops or cheers are encouraged and expected. So we're starting with apparel design, and center stage we need Lucy Dunn, the program director. And you see Lucy's carrying a basket here. That's their very first project that they did in apparel design. So are you ready, Willis?
Willis Spots Canby.
Megan Clark.
Melissa Catherine Veit Jurizik.
Sophia Louise Gilligan.
Michaela Youngblood Herod.
Sinead Odessa Kelly.
Sarah Faye Merman.
Sydney Ray Mustakas. Marina Janelle Qualley.
Aaron David Richter.
Abby Andrina Schumacher.
Kyrie Grace Todd.
Madeline Sarah Top.
Kina Vang.
Samuel James Brissett.
Oh, hold, Samuel. Wait. Let's hear it for the apparel design students. Okay, we're moving on to the Bachelor of Science in Architecture. No problem. So we need our architecture faculty, Mark Swackhammer, here on stage. Okay, Samuel.
All right, take two. Samuel James Brissett.
Garrett Charles Burnham.
Lucas Robert Ewing.
Elena Rose Gavins.
Shreya Ghoshal.
Shreya's a candidate for summa cum laude honors.
Adam Robert Hunt.
With distinction and summa cum laude.
Kyan Karen Lee.
Matthew Scott Lenz.
Samantha Matuk.
With distinction.
Caitlin Marie Munstock.
Brandon Orth. Max Olette Howitz. Neo Phelan.
Amy Margaret Poburka.
Anthony Allen Rodriguez.
Emma Christine Rutkowski.
Timothy Leroy Shortreed.
Amanda Lee Stevens.
With distinction.
Robert Svaya.
Jacob Torkelson, candidate for distinction and summa cum laude.
Jacob Paul Wool.
Now, Architecture BDA.
Abigail Elizabeth Aldaffer.
Amanda Lee Anderson.
Candidate for distinction and summa cum laude.
Serena Fawn Anderson.
Lauren Lee Angus. Laura Ann Branstad.
Nicholas Scott Brusky.
Michael Eric Caniff.
种草
Candidate for distinction.
宜轩成
Quentin Dietrich Dahlbeck.
Eldon Evans Davidson.
Janine Olivia Einhorn.
Patrick Killian English.
Sydney Taylor Everett.
Douglas Edwin Green.
Rosemarie Marguerite Gregoire.
Candidate for distinction and summa cum laude.
Katerina May Grangs.
Jagan Guo.
Kevin Trung Ha.
Jesse Roy Harris.
Brian Taylor Hildebrandt.
幸博黄。
Daniel Nat Miller.
Julia Marie Crummel. Jennifer Nicole Larson.
Minji Lee.
Lý德文。
Terry Long.
Nicole Violet Matson.
Julia Alexandra Maurus.
Akila Musa.
Alex John Nelson.
Ni Nguyen.
Jessica May Nakata. Isabella Churchill Noet.
Emma Camille Norden.
Anastasia Jean Pathos.
Natalia Maria Piela.
Candidate for summa cum laude.
Emily Marie Pressbridge.
Cheryl Lee Robinson.
Haley Elaine Schmitz.
Alex Makoto Simpson.
Brandon Jeffrey Thompson.
Bridget Volusic.
Jinshuang Wang.
Jordan Luke Williams.
CC 吴怡轩。
Chelsea Shang.
Okay, let's give it up for our architecture undergrads. We're moving on to our graphic design BFA students. Suchu, center stage. You ready, Shad?
Shad Anderson.
Dan Armstead.
Candidate for distinction.
Lindsay Noel Babler. Amy Bartos.
Trevor Nathan Beatty.
Lucia Gao Kai. Camilla Cartagena.
Viet Chu.
Emma Joanne Dahlgren.
Candidate for high distinction.
Ryan Gregory Doro. John Michael Erdahl.
Kevin Michael Flugel.
Kamil Abdullahi Sheikh Haider.
Molly Green.
Timoteo Rafael Hidalgo.
Julia and Eva Holmes.
Candidate for distinction.
Jenna Lee Housley. Courtney Elizabeth Howison.
Zhang Keda.
Alexandra Marie Joaquin.
Candidate for distinction.
Katie Johns.
Candidate for distinction.
Sarah Irene Johnson.
Stephen James Kaiser.
Ryan Jeffrey Kramer.
Katrin Patricia LaCroix.
John Christopher Lewin.
Sandy Lynn.
Nathan Lewis Mansky.
Sarah Louise Matson. Sandra Marley Sadie Marowitz.
Candidate for distinction.
Nguyễn Văn Trọng, aka Trong Nguyen.
Justine Marcy Nussbaum. McAllister Ann Orchard. Brittany Autumn.
Candidate for distinction.
Mariah Karen Peterson. Kate Mara Radasta.
Michael James Reedy.
Sydney Marie Rogers.
Lizzie Schmitter. Danielle Gail Schonecker.
Taylor Marie Sieverson.
Madeline Marie Storar.
Candidate for distinction.
Haley Irene Teal.
Erica Grace Vannenbush.
Emily Rose Vermeulen.
Candidate for distinction.
Jordan Lindsay Wagaman.
Camille Nicole Westfall.
Cum laude.
Emma Daniel Zapchink.
Okay, let's hear it for our graphic design students. We're moving on to interior design, and Abimbola Asojo is under stage here to congratulate her students. Sydney, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sydney Ruth Anderson.
Holly Renee Bressler.
Jonathan Scott Butler Knutson.
Hannah Christina Carroll. Karina Jo Carr.
Abigail Elizabeth Cole.
Emily Ann DeVore.
Candidate for distinction and summa cum laude.
Ashley Eileen Duggan. Ashley Eileen Duggan. Caliska Noel Phobes. Whitley Morgan Fallestead. Rachel Taya Grothy.
Candidate for high distinction.
Amanda Marie Heineke.
Rachel Huyen Jun.
Emily Elizabeth Milani.
Megan Jane Miller.
Candidate for high distinction and summa cum laude.
Hannah Sandra Seagar.
Caitlin Suzanne Vold. Haley Marie Rassman.
Candidate for high distinction and summa cum laude.
许冰儿 Marine L. Ying.
Let's hear it for our interior designers. Now we're moving on to landscape design and planning, the BED, and Brad Agee, center stage, and Joe Favor. Ready, Matt?
Matthew Bork.
Jacob Halsney.
Candidate for high distinction.
Mina Ham.
Danielle Shirley Jurichko.
Olivia Lister.
Candidate for distinction.
Brittany Rose Murphy.
Miranda Joelle Olson.
Norman Chester Palacios Jr.
Candidate for distinction.
Sarah Ann Rumpy. Sarah Ann Rumpy.
Ya Tao. Yuyan Wang. Cameron Zook.
Candidate for distinction and summa cum laude.
Okay, some applause for landscape design and planning students. We're moving on now to our retail merchandising students. And Hae Young Kim is the program director. Megan is ready. Go.
Megan Elizabeth Andreessen.
Candidate for distinction.
Chase Thomas Ator.
Morgan Ann Brady.
Candidate for distinction.
Rachel Nicole Bursey.
Mina Hua Chan.
Calvin Porter Clinton.
Autumn Dahlia Cordes Eklund.
Jennifer Ellie.
Lauren Michelle Cox.
Sydney Drew Ellison. Sarah Joy Engwall.
Corinne Josephine Gamble.
Caitlin Gleason.
Emily Gook.
Candidate for distinction.
Claire Han Ning.
Emma Rose Hansons.
Jessica Ray Hill.
Haley Hovland.
Sydney Michelle Jacob.
Morgan Victoria Jensen.
Callie Mavorny Jonas. Kelsey Nicole Kazmierczak.
Hyunmi Kim.
Claudia Margaret Kane. Catherine Danielle Conan.
Haoyan Pico Ryer.
Candidate for high distinction.
Jacqueline May Lee.
Brianna Jo Legler.
Jordan Marie McIver.
Brittany Nicole Nowak.
Candidate for magna cum laude.
Angela Miki Osby.
Jamie Carol Pabst.
Ellie Nicole Peterson.
Jenna Marie Peterson.
Megan Charlene Quist.
Julia Grace Rafferty.
Gabriella Jean Ramirez.
Elise Lauer Rogers.
Madeline Oswa Russell.
Brenna Ann Schlotteroff.
Candidate for high distinction and summa cum laude.
Laura Beth Siegfried.
Candidate for distinction.
Jill May Simon.
Candidate for distinction.
Eric Lee Snyder.
Sadie Strassman.
Kristen Jo Suloff.
Candidate for distinction and summa cum laude.
Samantha Joy Thaler.
Charlotte Rose Wagenheim. Shanice Lachey Williams.
Ying Zhi.
Kira Hannah Zagelnik.
Let's hear it for our retail merchandising students. So we're moving on now to our graduate students, and we're starting with the Architecture, Masters of Architecture. Mark, there you are. Let's go.
Sundus Albayati.
Warren Balabas.
Kathleen Ann Bond.
Christian St. James Borgen.
Recipient of the Richard Morrill Masters Final Project Prize and recipient of the Masters Final Project Student Choice Award.
Kyle Michael Burr.
Miranda Marie Christensen.
Recipient of the Richard Morrill Masters Final Project Prize.
Alexander Sotiri Chrysomalis.
Anna Elizabeth Kobus.
Keishika Megara D. Serim.
Recipient of the Ellerby Scholarship.
Justin Thomas Fleck.
Elizabeth Ann Hendrickson.
Travis William Hare.
Xin Hu.
Recipient of the Ellerby Scholarship.
Lindsay Kiefaber.
Aaron Hanjun Kim.
John Kretschmer.
Recipient of the Richard Morrill Masters Final Project Prize.
Christopher Charles Lobbs.
Rodrigo Algenis Lozada.
Shiqi Lu.
Amanda Nicole Maldonado.
Kavwimba Macrae Mudumuka.
Recipient of the Richard Morrill Masters Final Project Prize.
Patrick James Moe.
Luke Murphy.
Ryan Nichols.
Kara Guy Prosser.
Recipient of the Henry Adams Medal.
George Schmaui.
Hannah Elizabeth Roth.
Gregory David Rouse.
Andrew Dale Smaby.
Corbin Allen Stowers.
Amy Joanne Van Gessel.
Wang Haoyi.
Amanda Catherine Weicker.
Recipient of the Ellerby Scholarship.
Kathleen Zimmerman.
Now we're moving right into the Architecture MS.
محمد علي عباس القاري. Timothy David Marcoux.
Jenna Lynn Remford.
Sarah Lynn Ward.
Let's hear it for all our master students in architecture. We're moving on to the master's programs in design, housing, and apparel, getting a design MFA. And Suchu, are you up there? Ready, Lauren?
Carl Engelbretson.
Randy Hansen. Abby Lee Kleinert.
On to our design Masters of Science students.
Julia Claire Duval.
Kira Jewel Erickson.
Brianna Desiree Dorothy Bonner Jones.
All right, and now we're moving on to Human Factors and Ergonomics MS. Kathleen, there you are. Okay.
Stephanie Ann Hornung.
Alexander Charles Johnson.
Ryan Patrick McCoy.
Theodore Malik Russell.
Muhammad Farhan Suhail.
We're communicating here with sign language. So applause for our design, housing, and apparel. Master's students, yes. Up next are our Master of Landscape Architecture students. There's Joe center stage, so Madeline.
Madeline Rose Goldcamp.
Teresa Anna Hunt.
Paul Daniel Leesmacky.
Maria Eureka Martin.
Ethan Tupper McKnight.
Recipient of the Capstone Merit Award.
Alexandra Ann DeLeon Guerrero Olson.
Andrew Mark Papke Larson.
Recipient of the Capstone Honor Award.
Piero Proti Melendez.
Shi Xian. Kevin Michael Toussaint.
Peter Svera Truax.
Recipient of the Capstone Honor Award.
Kelly Marie Urick.
Recipient of the Capstone Merit Award.
Dawn Christina Ann Vernon.
Wang Zitong.
Xiong Yang Yang.
Yan Yuqi.
And with a Master of Science in Landscape Architecture,
Lisa Marine Hesbrook.
and let's hear it for those landscape architects. Now we're moving on to our PhD candidates. Where are their names? Here they are. Don't worry. All right, so this is the highest degree we offer, and these students earned it. So the students will be hooded by their advisor, center stage, and we're ready to go. And our first student is Iman Al-Shawaf. And she's being hooded by her professor, Brad Hokinson. These hoods are complicated. We have to get it just right. Shou Zhang Cho. Shou Zhang is being hooded by her advisor, Hae-young Kim. Our next candidate is Do-young Choi. Oh yeah, Du Young is being hooded by her advisor, Marilyn DeLong. Our next candidate, Reem Jafar Dashti. And Reem is being hooded by her advisor, Marilyn DeLong. Yu Min Kim. Yu Min is being hooded by her advisor, Hae Young Kim. Deborah Mitchell. Deborah is being hooded by Professor Lynn Brune. You should have seen all the faculty getting dressed and putting their hoods on. It's complicated. Now it looks great. Our next candidate, Min Jung Park. Min Jung is being hooded by Hae Young Kim and Hunju Im. Ella Jane Rausch. Ella is being hooded by her advisor, Lynn Brune. Amanda Smoot. She's got a fan club here. Amanda is being hooded by her professor, Lynn Brune. Julie Irish Williams. Julie is being hooded by her advisor, Barbara Martinson. And now for a PhD in Human Factors and Ergonomics, Dara S. Gruber. Dara is being hooded by her advisor, Barry Kudrowitz. And congratulated by her program director, Kathleen Harder. All right, let's hear a huge round of applause page 9. Well, if I get to the end and I haven't finished, we'll have to look for page 9 elsewhere. So, here to confer the degrees is Regent Richard Beeson, Executive Vice President for Corporate Development and Government Relations at Sunrise Banks. Following 20 years as President and Chief Executive Officer of Sunrise-owned Park Midway Bank in St. Paul. I first met Regent Beeson when he was employed with the City of St. Paul Department of Planning and Economic Development as Senior Project Manager, and I'm so pleased he was able to join us today. He received a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from the University of Minnesota and an MBA from the University of St. Thomas. He serves on the board of the F.R. Bigelow Foundation, an affiliate of Minnesota Philanthropy Partners, and previously served as chair of the St. Paul Area Chamber of Commerce, the Central Corridor LRT Partnership, and as treasurer of the St. Paul River Center, the St. Paul Conservatory for Performing Arts, and Women Venture. Regent Beeson.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much, Interim Dean Houston. On behalf of the Board of Regents, my colleague, and President Eric Kaler, I am honored to be here today for the commencement of the College of Design. I think we're going to make this official. What do you think? Okay? So would the candidates please rise? On the recommendation of the faculty, and by authority vested in the Board of Regents of the University of Minnesota, I now confer upon you the degrees for which you've qualified. Congratulations, graduates 2017.
So we're lucky I found page 9. You don't have to stay here for the rest of the day. No, but I do ask family and friends to remain seated until the faculty and students have processed out. And then please join your students for a reception on Northrop Plaza. Finally, would our graduates please rise and turn? You are already risen, so turn and give your family and friends a round of applause. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And to your family and friends, let me present to you the College of Design class of 2017.
Thank you.